Bravissimo, Steve. Am I on? Oh, good. Hey, ChristiAnarchyToday, welcome you guys, especially you guys back there in different parts of the country. We're glad you're tuning in. Are we having a malfunction? We're good. We have curiosity on the face of one of our camera people, but I guess we are fine. You know what? We have done a show. We've done a number of shows, hundreds of shows, on a program called Heart of the Matter. It's on the same page that you can pick up ChristiAnarchyToday, HOTM.tv. Heart of the Matter, we talk about religion, we talk about Mormonism for a good part of it, and we talk about evangelicalism and all kinds of stuff. And ChristiAnarchyToday is a summarized version of a lot of stuff we talk about on Heart of the Matter. But, you know, I've been thinking about it. I said this last week. Heart is one of my favorite words. In fact, I think it has turned into my favorite word. And it's going to be really cheesy. This is going to be a very cheesy show, but this is kind of how I think anyway, is cheesily. So here's the thing. If you take the word heart, I can kind of describe my life in words that can be made from that single word. The first thing that I could say is there was ears. Jesus says, you know, listen, they have ears, but they cannot hear. I had ears, which represents, you know, just my physical life. I had ears, but I couldn't hear. And that was the start of my sojourn here on this earth. And maybe you're similar, so you might be able to relate to this. But ear, you can get that from the word heart. The next thing is earth, is a rearrangement of the letters. And Paul talks about how there are people who are of the earth. They're earthly, rather than people who are of the spirit, spiritual. Well, I was consummate earthly man. I was completely of the earth, of the flesh, of the mud, of the filth, of the pollution, right? So I had ears, but they couldn't hear. I was of the earth, filthy. And the next one that you can make out of heart is hater. And part of my earthly, soiled life was I was full of rage. I was full of hate. I was hateful toward everybody who was different than me. I was hateful for everybody who challenged me. I was loving too in a human sense, but I was also very hateful for a lot of things. Took a lot. So you got those three things, right? You have, he has ears, but he can't hear. You have, he's of the earth, and you have hater. That's the first part of my life. The next word that I'm going to insert right there, which is kind of a balance between the two worlds, is right there in heart is the word art. And I've always been an artist from the beginning of my memories. I've always yearned to be involved in art, but I didn't have the capacity with a background of being polluted and a background of hate to really use art effectively and for a better purpose. And so I was always a failure at it. I could never congeal anything relative to something good or reasonable because of all the stuff I came with it. So on one side of the scale, we have he has ears to hear but can't hear. We have he's of the earth. We have a hater. And then right in the middle of the scale, we have art. So then I came to understand who Jesus was. And then my ears, we can get the word hear out of heart, H-E-A-R. And I began to hear with those ears. And I began to have a relationship through the Spirit instead of just being earthly and physical and hating. And then the next one is he, the first two letters of heart, H-E. And so when I had ears to hear, I started to learn who he is and who he was and what he expects of me. And so I wasn't just of this earth, I translated up into another realm, into the heaven by virtue of him. And the final word over on this section, balanced now with art in the middle, is that I got a heart. God says that he will give you a new heart, and he will put that in you, and you will be his sons, and he will be your God. And so heart is the last word of the H-E-A-R-T letters that there. And so the first three were certainly off, and the last three are certainly on. And in the middle, the art. And only when I came to know him did the art start to become meaningful. Maybe not popular, maybe not big in this world, but then I was able, as someone who's artistically minded from a young age, start to weave that element of how God made me into good things and actually start to have it make some sense. So if you're artistically inclined, that's what this show is about. To people who have inclinations toward, like music, Steve out here slapping it like crazy. If you are like Steve, or if you are an artist in some sort, even technology is an art, or if you're a musician of another kind, or in paints, or whatever it is your temperament is, if you have that personality, understand that with God, who's the greatest artist, the greatest creator ever, he gets that personality. And he will work with you in the kind of off strange ways that artists can be. And you really give you a life that has meaning. Out!